Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Naked with Dr. Money. I am Dr. Stephanie Ardrey, known as Dr. Money. I'm so happy to join you again on another Wednesday at noon. This time is Pacific Daylight Time. So some of you might be a little bit sleepy. I have to admit, it was a little bit rough getting up still this morning. It's a funny thing, though. It's only rough when I find myself in a cooler part of the world because when I'm in Jamaica, as soon as that sun peeks out, I have no hesitation to jump out that bed and hit the beach as early as possible. But anyway, I digress. So today, I'm going to have an exciting guest who happens to be coming to me live from Jamaica, which is really wonderful. Today, as usual, we're going to have our conversation about mindset. I'm going to ask my guest what she thinks about mindset. Is it a result of her nature, how she was nurtured, or a little bit of both? We'll talk about how that mindset fostered her motivations and, of course, her manifestations. My guest today is Taj Hall, and she is an author. She refers to herself, she's a certified nutritional or holistic nutritional and herbal counselor. She has written a beautiful book called Healthier Options, which I'm referring to a little bit. I'll tell you a couple highlights of what jumped out when I first was introduced to Taj. She's a graduate of FITM, which I too am a graduate of FITM, although many moons apart, but nonetheless, something near and dear to my heart, that particular educational platform and background. I say FITM was a unique place for me, definitely, where it seemed like going to business school because at the time that I attended, all of my professors were entrepreneurs in the San Francisco Bay Area. So it was a fascinating journey, and I'm sure hers was as well. But she talked about her transition into really wellness after being faced with some of her own personal wellness challenges. So I'll allow her to tell that story. But the thing that I love is in her bio, she talks about how the body can heal itself. It has a way of naturally detoxifying itself if it is we use a combination of herbs, fasting methods. She threw in coconut water, which she's in Jamaica. And, that's the first thing I do when I get off my flight is get a fresh coconut. So definitely that. Seeded alkaline fruits. Seeded alkaline fruits. Those of you out there eating fruits that don't have any seeds, throw them out. Seeded alkaline fruits and vegetables. But anyway, I want to bring you guys in on a fabulous conversation that I already know is going to happen with Taj. So without any further ado, let me bring Taj into this conversation. Hey, lady, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Stephanie. How are you?
I am fantastic. You're even more fantastic because you're in my happy place. So I'm just feeling
Yes,
your energy.
yes, I just arrived. I'm actually in the car. Just arrived in Montego Bay, Jamaica, and I am allowing the sun to just gaze, hit me and gaze my body. It feels so good to be here, and I'm happy to be on live with you to share parts of my journey and my story. So thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Oh, it is my honor and pleasure. From the beginning, I knew you had just something special about you, energy and all. I was so happy that Jeremy introduced us, and I said, yep, she's a keeper.
Yes. I recently had someone tell me, Taj Mahal, my name is Taj Mahal, and they say, you are the world's best kept secret. And I'm like, wait, I have to learn how to receive that, you know, because I'm such a big, kind-hearted person, and I really love hearing other people's stories and journeys on, just their growth and their healing. So I have to remember to receive as well.
Absolutely, that's really part of
Yes.
it. I could say that, my journey, my love affair with Jamaica has been about a 30-year love affair, right? And over the last few years, I really, really got to get off of, if you say, some of the tourist paths, but really get down into the sub communities and really connect with the people. And I explained to my son because it was right around COVID time, and he had just moved to Vegas. And I supposedly had just moved to Vegas too. But next thing he knew, I was in Jamaica. I was supposed to be there for a month, and then it was a 2 months, and then it was going to, so he was finally like, "Are you ever planning to come back?" I said, "Well, I have to because I'm not Jamaican and I can't stay more than 3 months at a time." So my hand is being forced, but trust me, if that were not an issue, probably not. I probably would
Yes.
send me 10 things that I need and I'm good. You know,
Yep. That's it. This island is so beautiful.
it is so
Yeah.
beautiful, and the people and the culture. So, all right, all right. I know we can have go there, but I want to get into our conversation. So let me ask you, what would you say? We talk about mindset. When you think about mindset, do you believe that your mindset is a result of how you were nurtured, your base nature, or a little bit of both?
I feel a little bit of both because my nurture, so that's how, how I grew up, um, family at home, mom and dad, sisters around, they really, really allowed me to be my own self, right? They gave me free will to just explore and discover who Tajma was. And then my nature, as I became a young adult, discovering my own growth, I start to pick up other habits like, wow, I had some limiting beliefs growing up, childhood growing up. Like, you know, there's so much that you discover along your journey, and you don't know if it's from your nature or how you were nurtured, right? So you can kind of sit in that and really reflect. So that's why I think it's a little bit of both, for sure.
I think it is for most people that it's a little bit of both. I think sometimes people are surprised when they contemplate the question because they're like, wait a second, I really haven't thought about that. The
Hmm.
reason that it became evident for me is when I was thinking, pondering the questions for myself, I realized at 3, I was making some adult, if you will, decisions, and I had adults responding to my decisions. And the only reason that I knew that I was 3 around some of these conversations was that I remember talking myself into preschool. And my grandmother was saying, "You can't go to preschool because you're not old enough." And I we were touring a preschool, and I convinced the people that I wanted to go. So they enrolled me. Then a week later decided that I wanted to quit. And then my grandmother was like, "You didn't talk yourself in," but they realized that I was only 3. So then they were coming to kick me out because they were like, "We thought, we just knew she was 4." So my
Wow.
grandmother was so mad. She had talked my way in when I wanted to go, and when I was ready to quit, I was kicked
Yep.
out. So she was, "You're not going to school until you 5." But I realized I completely was manipulating folks, with my thoughts and ideas,
Sure.
and that motivated me to do a lot of things. So, two things I wanted to ask as a follow up. Your name, one, Taj Mahal. What was the inspiration, in terms of your parents picking the names? Because I do believe names say something about it, kind of sets an intention, for your child. So, tell us a little bit about
Absolutely.
Uh-oh, we're in Jamaica, so sometimes she's coming to me live from Jamaica, so sometimes the internet can be a little touchy. I'm sure she will be right back, and as soon as she's back, we will pick up on the story behind her parents selecting Taj Mahal as her name. Also, I have to tell you, this book, Healthier Options, that I'm referring to, that she's written, is a fabulous book. I love I'm going to tell you how she opens up. She talks about warning. This is not your average recipe book. And she begins with healthy as an adjective. And it says freedom from sickness, illness, stress, or dis-ease. A mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, and holistic state of well being is to be in good health, to heal oneself. And she goes on when she gives us the what would typically be the table of contents. Hers is called the table of consumptions. Oh, I love that. And not only does she provide you with various recipes, she has them organized in different categories, but she also gives you an idea of particular kitchen essentials that may work well with a particular set of items that you're looking to prepare. Um, the table of consumptions has a section called Meals to Heal, Sweet Tooth, in case you have a sweet tooth. And I know a few folks that definitely have sweet teeth. Water and herbs, liquid courage. All right. Um, sauces and dressings, a simple break fast. So when you're thinking about how you're going to break your fast, and here is Taj.
Hi,
Oh,
you all. So sorry about
no,
that.
no worries, no worries. I filled in with a little bit more about the book. You were about to tell us about the inspiration uh, for your parents in the selection of your name.
Yes. Sorry about that. My phone overheated. It said the temperature was too hot.
Oh, I've had that happen for sure.
Yes. So the inspiration behind my name, I'll share just a little backstory. My one day, my mother was driving to work. She had just dropped off my two older sisters. She was pregnant with me, and a drunk driver came and hit her
Oh,
at the intersection of a light and wrapped their car around the light pole. And then there goes me in the hospital, and now she has to give birth to me and induce her labor. So I was premature, 7 weeks early. I was nameless for about a week because she wasn't ready for me. She didn't know what to name me. So after about a week in the hospital, after delivering me, they had to take me to the NICU. I was born with a chest tube because I couldn't breathe. Lots of complications due to the car accident while she was pregnant. So she was laying there on the hospital bed after giving birth to me, and she was watching the History Channel, and the Taj Mahal popped up. And she goes, "That's your name. I'm going to name you Tajma. And my surname is Hall." So she says Taj Mahal.
wow. See
Yes.
what a, you know, talk about m- mindset and motivations, right? Instead of
Yeah.
thinking, doom and gloom, what a powerful correlation,
Hmm.
to name, to symbol, to richness, and again, that would speak to your nature. You enter
Yes.
this realm having to fight for,
Yeah.
to claim your strength, and
Yep.
to develop from what could be considered a deficit. But it was the mindset of both your mom, her determination. She didn't falter in her mindset, I'm sure, which is what contributed to your ability to, receive that energy and then
Yep.
transition. So, all right, I get it. That's
Yes.
why. And then you also grew up in a few other places besides the US, correct?
Correct. Yes. So I grew up in Belgium, and we traveled a lot throughout Europe. We traveled, so that also allowed me to shift my mindset and explore the possibilities of who you can become and who you want to become, right? because you're so immersed in many different cultures. Um, one big takeaway for me living in Europe was I never experienced racism the way we do in the US or even other parts of the world.
Mm.
So as a young child and a young adult, that never came to my mind. So I never had beliefs of, oh, they're picking on me because of my color, or oh, they're, talking about me because of my color, because I went to school with all nationalities, all ethnicities. It was a very diverse American, European, African, Asian, and all my friends and my peers and schoolmates were all nationalities. So my mindset was, I didn't see color, right? And that allowed me to be the free spirit I feel I am.
I think that's so empowering, and I think it's powerful. That's one of the things that I felt as a parent. I wanted both myself and my son to travel to see the world. The big idea was, hey, when you graduate from high school, I wanted to be in position. Unfortunately, I wasn't, but it was my dream to be in position where I could just literally give him go backpacking around, Europe, go
Yes,
just hit the world, go for a year and just travel the world, see as many places as you want to. Thankfully, he's been traveling since he was a young tyke, so he's got bits and pieces. Every year we would go someplace. He started off as a child actor, so that helped because we had to go
nice,
to some countries for him to film different projects, which was great. That helped to
nice.
support that ideal, and then having friends take him on trips, and so he's
Hmm.
got the bug of course.
Yes,
So I'm happy to continue that journey with him. But I also think that that also contributes to my observation of you as as adult, as a person, as a presence.
yes,
Is I notice that I feel the energy of your freedom and your confidence in a different way than sometimes what I can say that I know I experienced or encountered. I had to always overcome certain things. And it's interesting how those things still show up. I was looking in the mirror the other day at myself and saying, wow, it's amazing how growing up, people would say, how pretty I was, but I was darker than a paper bag. And I said, it's
mm,
amazing that young ladies these days, my same complexion, they don't have that darker than a paper bag as even part of their thought process. They they're just beautiful. So
yes,
just, you know what I mean? Edit that part out,
yeah,
edit
yeah.
that part out and just go on with the rest. And I thought, what a gift to live if full life is 120 years and beyond.
Hmm.
More life in front of me, thankfully, still than what's behind me. So, what a gift I could give to myself to accept that mindset, edit it, and continue forward, right? Don't need to bring that baggage to the party. So, then that
Right.
kind of leads me into my question for you. How have your mindset contributed to the things that you've been motivated to pursue along your journey?
Yeah. So my mindset has, I've always had this kind of like independent, free spirit, not rebel, but a little rebel mentality. And I when and growing up, I was very ill. Like I shared this story about the car accident. So I entered this realm in very, some people call it traumatic situation. So I've had to fight, and I didn't like the survival mentality um, that I was in until I healed myself naturally of all the diseases that were labeled on me that entered my body due to the environment I was in, due to the foods that I was eating. So my mindset after have I, when I was rising every day and didn't feel the symptoms of pain and sickness, my mindset shifted like, wow, I knew I could do this because for 10 years I've been trying to go to specialists, UCLA, Cedar Sinai, all these top hospitals. And I'm like, there is no one coming to save me, and there's no pill There's no magic pill for what's
Mm,
happening inside of me. I am the resolution, right? I am the one that's going to fix this. So my mindset just shifted around what I wanted and how I can get there.
mm.
And I was determined. I was like, I'm not stopping until I rise every day and I'm no longer in aches and pains and fighting the symptoms of hyperthyroidism and Graves' disease and IBS, IBD, all the labels that, are connected to symptoms. So that's my mindset. Yeah.
And it's so important that you talk about tackling and also rejecting the labels, because again, what people forget is that when we talk about detoxing, we're talking about detoxing our physical bodies, but you have to detox your emotional thought, your thought process, because most things first begin as a thought, then it manifests in within your body, especially if your body has suffered any type of physical trauma, if your cells have been deteriorated in any way because of something that has caused that deterioration, then it's the thoughts that release chemicals that then find them way, they've set up camp around those cells that are either atrophying or whatever that's causing this ease within your body. And that can either expand because you're giving it more energy, you're focusing on and believing. A lot of times people don't realize that you make yourself sick by what your thoughts are. And if somebody's planting those seeds, you need to detox from those conversations, from those thoughts. And I notice in your book, you pay a dedication, a page to Dr. Sebi. You talk about his importance of iron and the fact that so many of us are iron deficient, and just that basic deficiency contributes to so many things. But I want you to kind of touch on two things. One, because it was really powerful what you said about detoxing your thoughts, stopping accepting the labels. How much of a challenge was that for you, probably to own your possibility by rejecting that? But how did you deal with these various so-called professionals wanting to add these labels, add these thoughts? How did you kind of detox from it emotionally, as well as then begin to detox your body physically?
Yeah. So the way I had to detox was one day I was sitting in my downtown Los Angeles loft with the Hollywood view, and I felt so empty. I was like, okay, I have the loft. I've done I've been in fashion. I've graduated from FITM, one of the top fashion institutes in the US, and I still felt empty because I was sick inside. So I look beautiful on the outside, right? Modeling, entertainment. So fashion girl to a health food world. And I was sitting there and I'm like, there has to be more. There has to be greater. I don't want to continue waking up every day feeling like this. And I was waking. I was mourning every day because I was feeling so sick inside. So one day I shared with my best friend, I said, this is it. There has to be something. And I went on Google and I typed in fibromyalgia healer.
Mm.
And that led me to, I paid an acknowledgement to Miss Bernie Soon, somatic therapist based in Studio City. She's now actually transitioned, rest in paradise to Bernie Soon. And I called her and I shared with her my story. I said, look, I read your Twitter and you said that you've reversed your fibromyalgia and I've been dealing with this for over 10 years. And she listened to my story and she said, I don't think I can help you, but I know someone who can. So she gave me Dr. Kathy Ann Littman's phone number located in Beverly Hills. And I called her, shared her my story, and she said, come and see me tomorrow. So I
Mm.
said, great, I'll come see you tomorrow. I went to her office, and the very first time anyone of a doctor, medical status that I've ever gone to, she said, how much time do you have?
Wow.
And I said, oh, I have all day. Like, I parked at the 10-hour meter and I paid 10 hours, so I have all day. So she shared with me that I was addicted to sugar
Mm,
just by reading my face.
mm,
And I said, wow, I eat a Snickers every day. I love sweet potato fries and all the things that were causing inflammation in my body.
mm,
So she said, you can heal yourself. This is only the beginning. And from that day, I went home and I emptied out anything that was not on the okay list. I like to call it my okay or avoid list. And I
mhm,
emptied out everything because I knew I was okay before this happened because I wasn't, I felt good. I was thriving 10 years prior to this. And I said, I want to feel healthy again. I want to get back to traveling because it really was a hindrance on my body. I wasn't
mhm.
able to book gigs. I wasn't able to do modeling events and all the things. I wasn't as active. So I went home, I threw out everything, and I started studying herbs, remedies, natural natural medicines, plants, how to heal and reverse diseases. And not only was I studying online, reading books, but I was attending seminars and I was going to Dr. Lippman's office like every day. And I was getting that one on one mentorship from her. And I was also connecting with nature.
Mm.
So if I was wanting to study the herbs, I would go out, I would go to Phoenix, I would go to different parts of California, and I would experience what it's like to identify these herbs and touch them physically and identify them physically. So
Mhm.
I experienced a lot and experimented a lot on myself. And that was how I was able to detox naturally. The mindset was, okay, I'm fed up. I'm detoxing any limiting belief in my mind that I cannot do this because I know I can. And I envisioned myself and I envisioned a life of me after healing and not feeling diseased, right? So that
Oh
was the
man,
mindset of me detoxing.
that is so powerful. I mean, it really is. And it really speaks to, I would say, not only the manifestations, from, creating your book of recipes and tools, which while you were off, I was sharing how lovely the book is, not only produced, but I love how you organized each of the sections. I was sharing with them, instead of calling it the table of contents, you actually call it the table of consumptions and some of the different sections. But more importantly,
Yes.
um, just a couple things that I had identified that I think people don't realize is when we talk about toxic bodies, you talk about, hey, all water, fruits, and herbs are not the same. Cans equal cancer, aluminum equals heavy metal and toxins, plastic equals poison. Let's just kind of talk about that. How many people do we run across every day who are attempting to do something good for themselves, but they have their water in plastic? And
Yep.
those water bottles are sat in a car, the sun. You're literally drinking poison
Yep.
and not realizing it. There's so many things that people need to unlearn, right? And so it's like they're wondering when we say, no, your body needs to be detoxed. Where is, like, trust me, you have plenty of toxins in your
Yes.
body that you're not even considering because of all of these things, just where you're getting your food from. If you didn't go pick it off a tree and it was processed in some form and
Yes.
packaged, chances are there are toxins.
Yes. Yes. And everyone, you know, the mindset again shifted. It was a, oh, I can't do that, or I can't get there, or that's not possible for me. It is possible for you. It truly is. You can hop on a plane and get to where you belong, and surround yourself in an environment that is for you, right? And we just have to do our best. It's surrounded, even when you are in a place, like Jamaica, the Caribbean, plastic is still everywhere. We have to make the conscious effort to say, okay, I know I have, and I can find healthier options. It's really about your consciousness and your effort, that you dedicate to yourself.
Absolutely. So Doc and I, when we're there, we're usually traveling around with either a copper container, or, one of our glass containers that we're refilling that's, energizing and activating the water. Well, anyway, we are almost at the end of our time. I'm so happy to have this conversation with you. Last thing about any particular manifestations that you would say, and any new ones that are coming up, because you shared a few before we went live.
When I touched down, I said, "Oh yes, I move in here." So, so that is already in the atmosphere. That's already in the universe, and universe has heard it and felt it, and that's what is being spoken.
I am so happy to hear you say that, because to me that's been the continuum. And with what we're up to with ZenoVerse Wellness Group, when I first, met you, I said, "Oh my goodness, my whole wellness ambassador licensing program is going to be so critical. And I would love to have you work with me on, this part of the business, because I think it's going to be so meaningful. It's going to bless so many people. But more importantly, I felt that it was something that resonated with you in terms of your own personal business interest and your own personal passion. And so you just warmed my heart today, to share how much you're in love with Jamaica. And I'm like, you haven't seen the half of it yet. So wait until I'm there.
Yes,
So if
and I
you
want to
talk to
acknowledge
us
you.
then,
Yes, I want to acknowledge you, Dr. Stephanie, for really using your love and your passion to hold space for us and going out and exploring yourself and not having these limited beliefs as a beautiful, powerful, amazing, vibrant woman of color. And even, a lot of single moms or just single dads, even parents, they will have these limiting beliefs like, oh, I have the kids, I can't do it. But you really step up and say, I'm going to change my world so I can change the world. So I want to acknowledge you and say thank you for holding space for us and everyone that comes in contact with you, for really putting in a lot of effort consciously.
oh my goodness, that means so much to me. I have chills over here, but that's really what it's all about, is living that. I said one woman set the intention. My mom, when I was 9, said she wanted me to have a healthier lifestyle, and she felt that it could begin by choosing how I prepared my food. Something as simple as that, and selecting herbs. Back to Eden, right? And to think that I don't have her, but I've been able to take the spirit and all of the gifts that she's given me, and to be able to pass them forward, and to continue to want to do that, and to find
Yes,
other like-minded individuals to be part of that tribe community. Yes, we're changing the world. And that's what it takes, is it takes a tribe of like-minded
yes,
individuals. So I'm just so honored to have you as part of that community. I'm proud to have you, on my team, as well as you are out making a difference in the world.
yes,
I know once we join together, we can make even a bigger impact. So I really am honored and excited about what we're up to.
absolutely.
All right. So if anybody wants to catch up, I've
Yes,
given
absolutely.
information about some of your social media. I have the website. Any last thoughts? Got a little delay. Any thoughts
Yeah, I
before
would just like to share to everyone that sees this one little one little gem that changed my mindset was, when you get real with yourself, you can heal yourself and you can love yourself.
wow, that is powerful. That is that I'm not gonna
Can you
mess with that
can you
one.
hear
That
me
is
okay?
yes, yes, that was a perfect way to sum up, I would say, our conversation this time. I know we'll have many more.
I think it's delayed. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for jumping on today from Jamaica, and for sharing that nugget to our audience. and enjoy the rest of your trip there in Jamaica. I can't wait to hear all the stories.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to let Taj go. She's been moving around. We made it through the show. I hope you enjoyed our catch up. Listen, guys, every week I come to you sharing Naked with Dr. Money, which is my vlog sharing how I work through mindset, mind, body, and soul, right? I think it's best demonstrated by showing you, along the journey. It's peaks and valleys, right? But we all get to pick each day what we're going to focus on, how we're going to focus on, and how we're going to make a difference in this world. So until next week, Wednesday, noon, Pacific Daylight Time, I want you to be well, and I'll see you then. Take care.